Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are in an electric vehicle, and I know that might be confusing for most people who watch this channel because petrol definitely does run through my veins. But Kia rang me up, they gave me this EV6 GT-Line, and of course, being a professional automotive journalist, I'm gonna get in this thing and I'm gonna give you a non-biased review. So although I might not be an EV guy, we are going to talk about this thing. I'm going to tell you the pros, going to tell you the negatives, and yeah, just day-to-day driving though, it's been pretty good. Now I have had this EV6 GT-Line for just over 1 week here, and look, I've had to charge it. That's been a bit of an issue.
Online reviews rate WA's setup too slow.
This is crazy, man. This is what you call clown world.
Jonathan Ross had to try 4 locations to find a charger that worked.
I live in an apartment building, I don't have access to a home charger. But in general, just driving around, it drives quite comfortably. Kia, obviously they've been around, they've really started to up their game in terms of manufacturing recently. They're starting to, almost bridge a luxury vehicle on the higher end trim levels of their cars. So this thing has actually treated me quite well in terms of driving this thing daily. It's comfortable, it's quiet on the road, it's got a huge amount of features in here, which we will cover. Now, let's just cover the price of these things, because obviously, new tech, electric vehicle, batteries, these things are generally quite expensive. And rivals for this car, we're talking the Tesla Model 3, we've got the Polestar 2, even the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which I have reviewed as well. So if you want to see that video, I'll leave a link for it. You can click the pop-up banner right here. So let's just talk before on-road cost of this GT line, because this thing is going to run you about 87 grand before on-road. So, mate, it is pricey. And this is the second level, basically, of, top tierness. So you can go to the GT, which is above this car, which, obviously you get a more powerful electric motor package. It does, 0 to 100 much quicker. That's kind of more of the Tesla Model 3 performance variant. And that is going to set you back about 100 grand before on road. So it is a lot of money. And I find it funny that these manufacturers, they keep bringing out these fast EVs or these very luxurious EVs. And to me, it kind of defeats the purpose, because really all you want is basically, a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla with an EV battery in it. That's just make it as cheap as base bone. That's pretty much what most people would want from one of these things, I believe. Now, I know Greta Thunberg, Sleepy Joe Biden, and every far left blue-haired extremist will be telling you, look, this is the future, this is like saving the trees, we're saving the Antarctic, yada, yada, yada. Well, mate, cobalt mining, lithium mining, all the transportation costs to get these things made, exported, transported, to carbon neutral their footprint of building one of these things, I believe from an MIT study I saw, it's talking about like 120, 150,000 kilometers you need to drive this thing for before you've actually balanced it out and gone to like a positive. And that's comparing it to petrol. Leave a comment, guys. What do you think? Because at the moment, we're burning coal to get power here in Australia. We're burning coal. We are burning coal to produce power, to charge this thing, to say we are a greener people. Clown world. And again, guys, a lot of you guys who follow me, I'm a petrol head. But at the same time, I'm open for change. And as soon as I can see the data and as soon as I can see the infrastructure here, and, I'm for it. You know what I mean? Like, if you can make this thing cheap, you can make it drive forever, make it cheap for me to fill up, I'll be a lot more satisfied. But just at the current times we are here in Australia, it's just, it just doesn't seem feasible right now. Now let's just talk numbers here for a minute, because obviously 2 electric motors here, we're talking about 239 kilowatts combined and about 605 Newton meters. So again, electric cars, they just have that instant torque, and this thing does really boogie off the line. Even in eco mode, we've got an eco, normal, and sport. it is quite rapid. And I will actually mention in sport mode, I would be concerned to give this to a novice driver or, someone who's not really comfortable or used to an EV, because in sport mode, if you put your pedal down, this thing will take off like a bat out of hell, and like seriously fast. I will not be surprised if we start seeing a lot more crashes, with these electric cars, because if novice drivers are getting in these things, I want to put it in sport mode, mate, they will be basically through the windscreen as soon as they hit anything. It's kind of dangerous. Now, one of the big benefits of an electric car here is your servicing costs are much lower than your traditional internal combustion engine. So Kia on this EV6, they actually do give you a 3-year cap service price and a 5-year cap service price. So if you go for the 3-year one, it's only going to cost you $520 type thing, and it's about $1,000 for 5 years. So that's all you need to pay for maintenance for 5 years. So $1,000, that is cheap. You do also get a 7-year unlimited K warranty, but there is a little bit of a gray zone with these electric cars. So Kia, with an internal combustion engine, they give you a 7-year unlimited K warranty. That's pretty good. One of the best in the industries, I'd actually say. But when you actually look again for the electric car warranty, there is a little clause in there that does say high voltage parts is only warranted up to 150,000 Ks. So 7 years or 150,000 Ks, it's borderline, because basically MIT research has suggested that about, around that 90,000 miles, 150,000 Ks type thing is when the batteries are starting to need replacement. And that's concerning. And this is kind of the concern again here in Australia, is resale prices of electric vehicles, because again, once the batteries start to get a little bit weaker, replacements on them are so expensive. So people don't want to buy these things really unless they're new. And we don't get the opportunity really here in Australia to lease cars like America, Canada, other places in the world. You can lease a car, give it back in 3 or 5 years. Then maybe the electric car thing kind of makes sense for those people who do that. But if you're actually going to buy this thing, you got to factor in, when you go to sell this, or, at that 150,000 K mark, you're going to have to spend a huge amount again to replace the battery. All of that savings in terms of petrol and lack of service costs basically balance out in my mind. This just feels like a really well-built car, and it's quiet. It's got good insulation from the outside. It drives well. When you're in eco mode, it's quite comfortable, just, easy to use the pedal, easy to use that regen when you let off. These things automatically kind of brake for you and recharge a little bit into that battery. It's quite simple. The one thing I think this car lacks in terms of competing with, say, Tesla, is they need to do more with the middle screen here. So the infotainment system, look, it's responsive, it's quick, it's a sharp image, but I really feel like to compete with Tesla, and when you're going to charging stations and waiting for 40 to an hour to charge, you want to be able to do something. So I really feel like they need to have included, Netflix, or, they need some more apps in here, let you watch stuff, just play games or something. You get bored. You really do. If you don't have a passenger and you're charging this thing, it gets bored real quick. Now, you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on this vehicle, but it is only wired. And again, Kia, you got to step up. That is unacceptable for a vehicle here that costs $87K before on roads. The fact that I need to plug in a wire, plug it into my phone to do that, that's not acceptable. Not acceptable at all. Also with the wireless charge pad here, look, it's too weak. Even with a small case on the back of it, it will not register your phone. So you've got to take your phone out of the case, then put it down, then it will charge. It's not practical. Again, you know, I've been in other cars where it will charge through the case. Obviously, it needs a little bit beefier wireless charger here. In terms of the interior, I actually really, really like it. I think it looks fantastic. You know, it's got a nice sound system here. It's easy, you know, everything's laid out quite nicely. I do like the mood lighting. I absolutely love, you know, what's on the dash, what's on the center console here. Just the seats are very comfortable. I'm glad they're not leather. You know, they're heated, they're cooled. They just look nice. You know, this is a very nice futuristic kind of design that isn't over the top and it's comfortable still. So I think they nailed the interior. It's big in here. And this is a good looking vehicle. I feel like they've really nailed the design of this. It looks sleek. It looks nice. It drives well. I do like the, you know, full light bar over the back. It's quite a cool looking design. It's just, it's expensive. And charging, let's talk about it. Because yesterday I had to charge this car and I thought it's going to take, you know, 30 minutes to an hour at most. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong because it actually took me probably close to 2.5, 3 hours to get 85% charge because I went to my local Ampol, which had a fast charger. The fast charger was not working properly. Then I put in the GPS, give me the next charger available. It took me to the Perth train station. I went to the train station, and what do you know? It's only for scooters that you can charge. Electric scooters can only charge there. So again, GPS, boom, went to the next location. Took us to a Woolworths. And when we got up there, you actually couldn't charge because you needed a physical card, and it was a slow charger. So if we were going to get full charge there, it was going to take about 6-7 hours. So again, GPS, we finally found like a 75 kilowatt charger. So we drove probably a good 15 Ks, wasted probably 20-25 minutes driving around. Then we got there, we plugged in, signed up, you know, inserted the credit card, yada, 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 plugged in. It started working, thankfully. We were there for an hour and 10 minutes to get 85% charge. And while we were there, about 5 Teslas came and went because, you know, it was full. There was only 2 spots. You know, to me, that is just terrible infrastructure. It's not ready. And the only way I would recommend this car, truthfully, is if you were going to put a fast charger in your house. So, you know, then 6-7 hours overnight, you could get a full charge. And I think that's where it could make sense. It was cheaper. I mean, I thought it would have been even more cheaper. I know there are some places where it's free to charge, but for my experience, when I got my 85% charge, I gained about 200-ish kilometers of range, and it cost me about $19. So is it really that cheap? I don't think so, and I think that price is really going to go up dramatically the more people that do buy these things. And the scary part for me is if you're buying one of these things, is just boatloads now of these electric cars are coming into Australia, and unfortunately the infrastructure just doesn't seem to be getting put in with the amount that's coming here. So, you know, I guess they really are relying on these buyers to put those faster chargers in their garage, because if you don't do that, it does really start to get a bit challenging, and you'd have to really plan your days, plan when you're charging, when you're filling, you know, it could get tricky. Not to mention if you get there and then the chargers are full, you've got to wait, you know, an hour for one to open, then you got to wait another hour for it to charge. That could get frustrating. Now let's just talk about range here, because Kia claims this around that like 480, 520 kilometers of range, depending on how you're driving this thing. And honestly, I would have to back that up. You know, I think that's pretty reasonable. I think you're going to be averaging about 400 Ks per your charge, because I did about 300 kilometers of range and I still had about 100 Ks of range left showing. So it's pretty good. You know, I think that's a good, healthy amount of range. You know, you're not going to have that much anxiety for your typical driving. You know, you could probably drive this thing for most of the week without having to charge it. It's just when you do need to charge it, yeah, just unless you've got that home charger, again, just be prepared to do your research on when the times are to go, where to go, because that can get frustrating pretty quickly. Now, 0 to 100, guys, this thing is claimed at 5.2 seconds. It's pretty quick, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does it. Let's pull over and find out.
Go, go, go. Yes, man. Not bad. Not bad. It's definitely got some kick to it, this thing in sport mode. Let's see what the time was.
Now, guys, 0 to 100 was done exactly in 5.2 seconds. So, look, Kia coming in clutch, claiming it what it is. Gotta respect them for that. And again, this thing is properly quick. You know, I actually thought this was gonna be a little bit quicker because it really takes off. You know, that initial 0 to 60 Ks, man, it feels fast. And yeah, it just grips with that all-wheel drive. This thing weighs 2.1 tons, let's remember. Yeah, that's fast. Now, I'm going to finish the video off here today, guys. So, look, a huge thanks to Kia Australia for loaning me the EV6 GT-Line. Look, positives coming out of this review. It looks $1 million. I do love the interior. You know, the car drives just as you would want. It's comfortable. It's easy. Just the negatives here, guys, is the thing is expensive. Charging can be problematic if you don't have a home fast charger. But at the end of the day, guys, look, it's just the infrastructure. In another 5 years, maybe we'll be there here in Australia. Who knows? But currently, it is a bit dicey unless you've got that home charger. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video anyways. Hope you learned something. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here. We will see you on that next video.